that we anything. So we can be whole in our body, we can be whole financially, we can be whole in our minds and in our spirit. And we can also be broken in these areas as well. And I spent the last three sessions breaking it down of what it means to be whole or being broken in these areas. That gives us a more clarity of why things are the way they are, not just in our lives, but around us. When usually when there's a chronic problem, there's usually a chronic lack of knowledge of that problem. And guys, let me say this: we've lived in a world where we have been oppressed as a result because of a lack of information, because of a lack of truth. A lot that you have industries that are out here who are sharing, who are not telling us the truth, and as a result, we've lived to believe lies, or we lived to believe what we thought was truth, but actually was a lie. And at some point, we would say that wasn't fair, and it isn't fair. But now we live in a world today that's really shifted. We live in what we call an information world today, where a lot of what we did not know, we did not have access to getting, we now have access to getting. But also because we live in this information world, there's a lot of information out there that's not entirely true as well. Some we can consider it toxic. And so as a result, it's very important that with all the information we receive, we have to learn how to read between the lines, because that is where we're going to find truth. And truth is what matters. When we say truth, what does truth means? Some people have their own definitions from truth, but what truth really means is God's perception of reality, because God's perception is not distorted, and there isn't anything that goes against it. I like to tell people, I say there's a few things that there's many things that we can win in battles, but there's two things that we can never win or defeat in a battle, and which is the truth, and that's time, and that is the earth. And what do I mean by that? I mean is time is something we can never get back. Time is something that if lost, it's what it is. Yesterday is gone. We can only buy what we have. And then when I say, well, what do you mean by we can't win against the earth? And I say, well, climb up a roof and jump off and see what happens. I've never yet have known of anyone jump off a building and actually like crater the earth. And so as a result, there's information that's out there that in a sense is not true. And we need to know what that is so that we're able to really understand what is, so we can now create a construct of our lives that is centered around truth, and therefore we have results. Our life is and the fruit of our life are results of this truth, rather than us saying one thing and believing one thing, but now our lives and everything around it don't line up. Some people, and I want you to think about it from a perspective, guys, is we are all ones who are believers, truth seekers, and we all seek truth. Sometimes we may not, because of the fear of what we might hear. Some we might believe is truth, and we come to find out that it's actually not. And then there's some things that we just throw outside of the box. We don't even look at that and put that in the realm of truth and logic or whatnot. And one of those matters, this happens in the matter when it comes to spirituality, where you might hear the people, many people say, use the term, God is outside of the box. We put God outside of the box. So when it comes to a lot of the things in life that we would consider as logic or truth that can't be refuted, when it comes to how we see and how we look at God, it's kind of goes outside of those standards, outside of those matters. When we need to recognize that God, who is the creator of all things, who's created all of the laws and the legalities that has formed the truths around us, also lives by those truths. Think about an artist, for instance. When an artist creates something, there's an art form and a nature to it that is a product of who they are. And so everything they do and everything that is within it is all a product of them. So as I was going on, and what I was talking about was, when we talk about wholeness and oneness, that when it comes to being whole in Him, in our mind, in our body, in our spirit, in our soul, having that foundation, having an understanding of knowing why my body is doing what it's doing as I'm aging, what stress does, and how to actually overcome it. Understanding the law of seed, time, and harvest in association to money and currency. That, again, one of those, what I would like to say, no longer removing God outside of the box. And then also understanding who I am, who we are. Why am I the way I am? Why do I think the way I think? And with that, the processes that of refinement that is to come with